All right, so in this video, I'm here with my friend Kanji, who has been a Frisco resident for the last 7 years. And today she's gonna talk to you about all of the good and the bad things, everything you need to know. What is it really like to live here in Frisco? And if you stick around till the end, she's gonna share her #1 piece of advice when moving to the area. And we're getting into it right now. Hey ladies and gentlemen, if this is your first time watching one of our videos, I want to welcome you to the community. And if you want the most thorough, deep dive into all things Dallas, Texas, well, this is the channel that helps you do that. So go ahead and subscribe right now and tap the bell for notifications so that you can stay up to date on the current market in Dallas, Texas. My name is Jimmy Webb Jr. I'm a local real estate agent here in Dallas, born and raised, and we're getting a ton of calls and emails every single day from people just like you who are ready to make a move here in Dallas, and we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about buying or selling here in Dallas, then you gotta reach out to us. You know, shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email, or jump on our calendar if you wanna jump on a Zoom with us, whatever is easiest for you. We're happy to help you out when making a smooth move to Dallas, Texas, or in Frisco, like we are here today. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm here with Kanji. How are you today, Kanji?
I'm great, Jimmy. Thank you so much for asking.
I gotta lead with some manners here. So
you were raised right, young man.
Shout out to my parents. I'm sure they're very proud. But you have the coolest name I think I've ever interviewed of anybody I've ever interviewed. So
thank you.
Where are you from?
I am originally from California, and it's so interesting because people hear my name and they're like, Kanji, is that Swahili or African? Yeah. And I said, no, my parents were hippies from California. And they actually combined their names, and that's how they got my name. So it's Kathy, it's Kathy and Jim. So they took the first 2 letters of each of those, and that's how they got my name.
Your dad has a really cool name.
He does. He is the original Jimmy.
The original Jimmy. Yeah, so you've been now in Frisco for 7 years, but before that, you were born and raised California.
Yes.
And then you spent some time in New York.
Correct.
Where you met your husband.
Yes.
And you also have a young 7th grader, right?
Correct.
Going into 7th here in Frisco, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But yeah, today we just really wanted to get your perspective on what is it really like to live here, and I think you'll have we've had a couple of conversations, and we're gonna keep it authentic here for you today.
We keep it real, Jimmy.
Yeah, we keep it real. Yeah. So, all right, so let's start out with some of the good. So first thing, and if this falls, I'll just catch it, and y'all aren't allowed to laugh. Okay? So. First thing that you mentioned was the location here in Frisco.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we were moving here from New York, one of the things that we were looking at was we wanted a place that was close enough to Dallas, where my husband worked, but it was still kind of had a suburban feel, right? And so what we love about Frisco is there are so many things that are easy and accessible from this neighborhood. We are 25 minutes from DFW Airport, the same distance from Dallas Love Field. So when our in-laws come and family comes to visit us, quick shot to and from either airport. We love the fact that you can pretty much get anywhere in the Metroplex pretty quickly. So that was really important to us because we moved here and didn't really know anything. And we were like, this is gonna be a good adventure. So we wanted to be close enough to even Southern Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And so, that was one thing that I love about moving here to Frisco.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a ton of highways, right? So Dallas North Tollway is kind of that main one. You got to get a toll tag if you come to Frisco. That's a necessity. And then 121 will get you east and west.
Yeah.
George Bush, just a little south of that. That's kind of a loop-ish.
Right.
And then 380, which I'm sure that will eventually become something, but we're not quite there yet.
Not there yet.
But a ton of stuff to do. Would you say you hang out in Frisco a lot, or do you go to Dallas? What's kind of your feel there?
We actually pretty much exclusively hang out in Frisco, even pre-pandemic, before people left the house. I worked in the Plano area, so that's another reason why we thought it was convenient. So my husband worked in Dallas and I worked in Plano, and this just made sense to us. But we do hang out just in Frisco. We go to the Star to eat dinner and just to hang out. A lot of the activities that we do, Frisco centric. We go to a lot of the restaurants here and just support local. It's so important to me.
I love it.
Yeah.
So transitioning right into the second one was lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about the lifestyle here in Frisco.
So the lifestyle here in Frisco is really different than New York City, right? So living in New York, it was, and I love the way that you're looking out for my plant, I'm
like trying to look at you, but then this is like tilting. It's okay.
It's okay. We have faith. It's going to be fine.
We
right?
got it. We got it.
Yeah. So like I was saying, it's so different than New York, but this is exactly what my husband and son and I needed at this point in our lives, right? Frisco is family friendly. When you think of Frisco, you think that this is a community that really supports and loves and has been built intentionally around making sure that families have what they need. So what we do have is we have incredible schools and we have parks and we have places that you can kind of just hang out with your family. And like I said, it makes it so that you don't have to go to Dallas. You don't have to go to other cities because what we have is here and it's self-contained. And we just got word that we are, that Frisco is building and developing their performing arts center, which means so much to me because I love New York. And the one thing I do miss are the musicals and some of the performing arts stuff. So the fact that we are going to be developing that in our city has been wonderful to hear.
Your husband plays a little bit of...
So he's a musician. He plays locally. So when people who are watching your channel move to Frisco, they're going to have to look me up and they have to come out and hear my husband play at some of the local venues here. Yeah,
there you go. Okay. What's your favorite restaurant? I know people love to, like, what's the best restaurant that you guys go to?
Oh my gosh, there's so many good restaurants. And again, I think it depends on the type of food that you like and what you're really into. Me, because I do early mornings, I'm gonna have to give a shout out to Summer Moon Coffee for mornings. That gets me going. I love my cup of Joe. And my husband's name is Joe, so there we go.
There you go.
And then if I'm gonna eat dinner, we really like going, I would say Sushi Marquis over in the Star, because we love Asian food,
Okay. All right, so let's go to the third one here. We were talking about housing prices compared to like your California and New York and things like that. So talk about that a little.
Yeah, one thing that I like is that you kind of get your bang for the buck. I was born and raised in San Jose, California, and it was pre-Silicon Valley when things were kind of still affordable. But now we look at some of those home prices there and people kind of, you get stuck, right? Here, we're able to have the space, have a little bit of the land, and we don't have the cost. So that was eye-opening to us. And we moved here from New York when we moved from a really small townhouse into like a 4,000 square foot home. And so for half the cost, which was incredible for us. And we still can't believe it. And when our family and friends come down from New York, they're like, you pay how much? For what? For this house and like this pool?
Like, wait, I can like stretch out?
Exactly. They're like, you have more than one bedroom? So that's something that we loved. Is like, we're not on top of each other. And it's affordable in terms of what we were used to, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure people have seen some of the memes out there. I saw one the other day, and if I can find it, I'll throw it up. But about, what you can get for $500,000 in California versus here in Dallas. And it's like, over in California, it's like this little kind of shack with like a toilet outside randomly. I just remember that because some guy was like, you don't get a toilet in your home for less than $600 or $600,000.
Yeah.
So
it's a premium for the toilet.
So,
oh, that's hilarious, Jimmy.
But and then on the Dallas side, you have like this mansion, right? And so but obviously it's a meme, but there is some kind of truth to that. I mean, the numbers kind of back it up. I mean, the median home price, here in Dallas is $240 compared to California it's $700, New York it's $630. So you can really buy 2 homes for the price of 1. Wow. If you're coming from those areas. And we have a lot of clients who, are moving from a different area and they're able to, move into a bigger house for less money. And so they pocket a little bit of that and to do other things or put it in investments or whatever, right? And so that's always a cool thing that can happen, right? So, but with Frisco, let's talk about the small town feel. I mean, it's growing, but as it's grown especially over the last 10 years, it's really kind of kept that small town feel like you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, when we moved here, again, moving from New York, there were just a lot of people. So moving to Frisco was like, okay, there's 100,000 people. This is really, really small. And the population has just exploded. We've exploded because the Dallas Cowboys relocated their practice facility here. The PGA headquarters is relocating here.
Yep.
A lot of companies have come here from Boston and California. And so you have this explosive growth. But what's been really interesting and cool to see and be a part of is the fact that Frisco still has this small town feel, right? And I think that that's because you still have a lot of self-containment. And so when we talk about local restaurants, and you mentioned earlier all the different highways and freeways, right? We have Sam Rayburn and we have Dallas North Tollway. You can pretty much still find everything you want and need in like a small segment of the city. And so it's still like, and because our schools are still small, you still hang out with the same people, know the same people, are always going to kind of be around. So it still feels like, I feel like I'm going to age myself a bit, Jimmy, here when I say this, but it feels like an episode of Cheers where everybody knows my name, right? Especially since we have a name that's interesting as kanji. It's like, everybody knows me here. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird. Got to like be on my P's and Q's when I'm out in public. It's like I see the same people at different stores. So it's cool, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's kind of transition. I mean, we can still talk about some of that, but the last pro, I mean, the schools are just amazing, but one thing with the schools is they do keep it small. I mean, they want to keep the classrooms small so that, the kids really get that attention that, we feel like they deserve. And I mean, so just, there are 10 high schools, right? 17 middle schools and 42 elementary schools, right? And so there's just a plethora of these schools. And so that's kind of what helps, I think, keep that community feel, because the parents are always hanging out, the same kind of parents, and you're kind of going through that through the whole way, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, talk about the schools. I mean, you got the 7th grader going through right now, so.
Yeah, and I think that I could talk about the 7th grader all day long, but we got a short amount of time for this video, so I'll keep it short. Right. But that's the reason why we moved here. We wanted to make sure that he was going to be afforded some fantastic educational opportunities. And we were looking at some of the public schools in New York, and then we lived outside of New York in northern New Jersey and just didn't really like the school systems there. So when my husband was looking at opportunities and found the opportunity in Dallas, we then started looking at the area, and we settled on the fact that Frisco had some incredible schools, and we were looking to make sure that we were able to provide the best education possible for our son. My mom is an educator. She's an English teacher. Kathy, we talked about Kathy earlier. Shout out to Kathy. Shout out to Kathy. And I was lucky enough to have gone to private schools my whole life on scholarship. But even if that wasn't going to be the possibility for my son, it didn't need to be that way because the public schools here in Frisco are so good that we didn't even need to then look for the private school option.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mentioned that in the vlog that we do. So if you want to check out what it's like to hit the streets in Frisco, you can check out that video. But yeah, I mean, private schools aren't really a necessity here.
We knew it was going to happen. We knew. We knew it.
But yeah, I mean, the private schools, people don't. I mean, I know a couple of people. I'm in that private school community a little bit, so that's where I went to school, and then I still am involved in there a little bit, and so I know some kids who come from Frisco down to, the Green Hills and the St. Mark's and things like that, but it's not really. I mean, the schools are just so good here. I mean, top-notch ratings across the board, and so it's really not necessary for you to really do that, right? So
you said it great. Yeah.
Anything else on schools?
That's all.
Okay. Well, I think that wraps up the pro side. Let's talk about the juicy stuff here.
This is what they really tune in for, right? Yeah, absolutely.
So, hey, and by the way, if you like what we're talking about so far, tap that like button if you would. It would mean the world to us if you did that. And subscribe as well while you're there. Tap the bell for notifications as well. So hey, our next video that we drop, you don't want to miss that one, so you definitely want to be subscribed for that and know when that's coming out. And then comment if you have any questions. Get in the comments and let me know what I can answer for you. We'd love to help you out in any way that we can. But we had to pry some of these cons out of you a little bit. But let's talk about the property taxes. Okay?
Yeah, you didn't have to pry that
I didn't have to get that one.
That was like the first thing that I said, I'm pretty
Yep.
sure. Yeah. So property taxes, here we go. I'm an attorney. And so also looking and saying like, trying to find a deal, always looking to make sure that you're like reading the contracts and everything like that. So with property taxes are kind of high, right? There is a cap on property taxes. However, the cap is every year. So the way that they structure it is you can raise the tax 10% of the assessed value of a property every year, but they can do that every single year. And what we've seen happen, and what I've seen happen during the last 7 years, is they've done that. And so the assessed value of our home, tax assessment has gone up. Our property taxes have also gone up. You know, again, we know where the money's going. The money's going to support our public services and our utilities and our teachers and our schools. So I'm not going to ever complain about that. But it's just something that we need to be aware of, and would be doing a disservice to you and anyone watching if I didn't mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the highest that I've seen is, and not necessarily in Frisco, but it's the highest I've seen is 3.4%, which I know what you're thinking, like what? 3.4? But I've seen it as low as 1.8. But we do another video as well that talks about there's no state income tax here. So when you take the whole picture into account, right? The property, they're going to get you on the property taxes, but you're saving in other areas that it still makes it more affordable. I do another video on, California specifically versus Texas versus Dallas, and we look at all the taxes, and Dallas still comes out more affordable. Yeah, the property taxes here are high, but in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, right? I need to watch that video. I haven't seen that one.
Come on.
Absolutely will.
So, okay, next thing is we got to talk about this traffic.
Yeah. So you mentioned all of the wonderful thoroughfares we have. We've mentioned it twice, the Dallas North Tollway, the 121, because of the explosive population growth, not just in Frisco, but even areas north and west. We have beyond, right? So what's happening is folks that are still traveling south to Plano and into Dallas, congestion has just happened. And so I think that they're looking at ways to alleviate it, but we don't have a strong public transportation system.
Nope.
There's no real carpooling thing going on. When people were staying home during the pandemic, it eased, but now everyone's back on the road. And so, traffic is kind of a nightmare, and you kind of just have to check your feelings and make sure that you stay in your good nature, and you stop and get that coffee from Summer Moon before you get on the road, because you don't know how long you're going to be on the road, right? Yeah. Just be patient. Yeah. One
thing I think is a silver lining here about Dallas traffic, and let me know if you agree or not, is, you're at least always going to be moving. You're never going to be stuck here in Dallas, right? And so would you agree with that?
Do you want me to agree with you?
No. I want you to be real. We keep it real here, right?
We keep it real. For the most part, you're going to be moving, but I will say that there are some times when you just are sitting and stuck for no reason. And I will say, I think sometimes when you hear this, when it rains, people drive really badly.
Oh yeah, that's notorious.
Yeah, when it rains, some people who are moving from the Northeast and we're used to driving in the rain, the sleet, the snow, people here don't drive that well in that kind of weather. So again, just be gracious, check it, get some coffee, and just slow down, right? And be safe. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I don't want to harp on that for too long.
Nope.
But all right, let's talk about, I know you're involved in the community, and just the general lack of leadership diversity, just being represented, right? So. Yeah,
I'm a firm believer that if you cannot see it, you cannot be it. And so for me, it's always important to not only model excellent behavior for myself and the people that I'm around, but to try to always make sure that my son sees that and other people see that. What has been wonderful to see and what's heartwarming to see is how the demographics of Frisco have changed over the course of the last 7 years, because there are a lot of people that are coming in, people of color that are moving into this area, so that Frisco looks a lot like the United States now. I think when we first moved here, it was the demographics were skewed more heavily white.
Sure.
My husband added to that, he's a white man, but now we have more Asian population, more Hispanic population, and we also have a larger Black population. I don't think that our leadership has caught up to that just yet. But as I am a believer that change happens, even slow change is still change, and that's progress. We just last week had the first Black woman elected to our city council. We, the town over, Little Elm, had the first Black man elected. So I think that we're able to see, and those people are able then to take some of our concerns and then bring them to the table and use that. And so I just hope that we're making changes and we're moving in that direction. And I'm just excited to see where we go and how we grow.
I can't really add anything. I mean, I think, I've seen that too over the last 10. I mean, Frisco's just had this boom over the last 20 years or so. And I've definitely seen that trend. In the beginning, there was a lot of white people here, but it's definitely, a lot of families have moved in here from all over. So that's really cool to see. But all right, so next, let's talk about this crime. Okay. So I'll let you go first, and then I'll hit them with some numbers.
So can I share that when I said this, Jimmy, you thought I was like, you're like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I did say that, and I had to look up. I was like, is she real?
And then he was like, well, what part of Frisco do you live in? I was like, no, seriously.
We're right on the golf course over here.
Right. So we're sitting in our backyard, and a lot of the houses in Frisco have driveways in the alley, and they're so in the back. So I don't know where if you're watching this, I don't know how houses are designed there. But what's happened is there is a lot of property crime here. Because a lot of people park their cars in driveways, what has happened is sometimes at night, a lot of times at night, we've had instances where people go into unlocked cars. They walk through the alleys going into driveways, and they look to see if cars are unlocked. And then if they are, they go in and rifle through them, and they steal things from them. I will say that we're victims of that. My husband, the musician, left his guitar in the trunk one night, and someone came and the door was unlocked and they popped the trunk and they took his guitar. We've had other neighbors that have also had items stolen from their cars. So it shocked me because we were coming from New York, and I was like, I lived in New York for 15 years and never had anything stolen from me, was never the victim of a crime. And then I moved to Frisco, Texas, and I was. So it just, and then we look, and I look at my husband who's from Brooklyn, and I was like, we know better. Like, we know better than to leave our cars unlocked. Like, this should not have happened to us, right?
Sure. So maybe if you move here, definitely make sure you have some space in the garage so you can park your car in the garage.
Yes.
But so I was looking at these numbers after you said this, and so as far as violent crime goes, the national median average was 4 per 1,000 people, and Frisco was at 0.8. Okay, so on violent crimes, it's very, very low, right? Which is kind of where my head was. But when you said that, I looked up the property crime rate, and median average there is 21 per 1,000, and Frisco was at 11. Okay, or actually, I think it was 11.92, so maybe almost 12, right? So kind of half of that median, which it did surprise me. But after hearing your story, I mean, that's hey, we gotta keep it real for you here. So just hey, get that garage. Make sure you got some space in there.
Clean out the garage.
You should be okay there. Okay. So all right. Lastly, let's talk about. This is a city that does not sleep. Definitely does not sleep.
New York is a city that did not sleep.
Coming from there, that's quite a culture shock.
Frisco sleeps. Frisco sleeps, and things shut down kind of early here. But I think that's part of the family lifestyle, right? And that we talked about that earlier. Things shut down early here. And it's just something that you get used to. You're not going to be able to go out at 2 a.m. and find a lot of places that are open and hang out. And if that's kind of what you do, that's what Dallas is for, right? That's what I've noticed. Yeah.
And then in the morning, you said you used to be a cycle instructor, and that, what was it, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, I would teach 5 a.m. classes. So I was out on the roads at 4:20 in the morning, stopping and getting coffee, right? And so teaching those early morning classes kind of made it so that I was dependent on it. But I was like, if I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning in New York, that's when people were just coming in from the clubs, not getting up and heading out, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely, you're going to have a good coffee maker if you're an early riser. But okay, so yeah, I think that kind of wraps up the good and the bad. I think we've covered some good things there. But let's give the people your number one piece of advice for someone who's just moving here for the first time. What do they really need to know?
So if you are just relocating to Frisco, first, welcome. You made a wonderful decision. And I look forward to meeting you, probably at a coffee shop. The one piece of advice that I would give to you is to really get connected. Get connected to this community and become a part of it. Become an active participant. If you have children, join the PTA. Make sure that your voice is heard. Vote in local elections. I run a local nonprofit here, and something that people don't know about Frisco is there are a lot of nonprofits here. We are a stronger community when everyone is involved in making sure that our community is better. So if you are joining us and you have decided to relocate here with my friend Jimmy, please get connected, stay connected, and do what you can with what you have to make this community just a little bit better. Because we're better already just because you're in it.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Don't be a stranger. You know, definitely put yourself out there. Don't be scared. I mean, people are very friendly here, very open arms. You know, they love to chat you up, see what you're about, and see where they can plug you in. Networking is a big deal up here, so
super key.
Yeah.
Well,
I think that wraps up everything here. And so again, if you are thinking about making a move here to Frisco or Dallas, then you got to reach out to us. That's the only way that we can help you. And hey, if you have lived here before, or maybe you live here currently, and maybe we missed a pro or a con, then get in the comments below and let us know what we missed.
Wait. Here's the disclaimer.
Okay.
You know, I'm an attorney. The opinions expressed in this video are only mine and not a reflection on Jimmy or his company, okay? It's just how I feel. So any negative comments, don't address them to him. That's all me, right?
No,
I own it.
I love what our conversation today. I think it was very helpful. I hope many of you liked it. So, hey, like this video, tap that like button if you enjoyed our conversation here today. Make sure you're subscribed and notified whenever we drop a new video. We drop new ones every week. And again, if you are thinking about making a move, then you got to shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email, or jump on our calendar if you want to jump on a Zoom. Any way that, or whatever way is easiest for you, we're happy to help you make a smooth move here to Frisco or Dallas, whichever one. And until next time, we'll see you around town.
Take good care.